Okay, that's running. All right, so I'll say the little formal bit just to get introduce myself, and then we'll get into more relaxed sort of mode of this. So I'm Nicolas David, now of the Centre for Conscious Ascension. So welcome to the webinar, How to Help Others Transmute their Karma into their Gifts of Service with a Soul Contract Reading Training. So this is, well, I'll let everyone see it on the screen there. Screen share didn't come up straight away. So this is just what we're going to talk about today. So have you noticed how people turn away from the biggest challenges or karmic challenges they face in their lives? I did that most of my life. And no matter how hard they've tried, as they are just too painful for them to face, as they lack the spiritual map of life to overcome them. So this webinar is about how you can help others overcome these karmic patterns, identifying the core patterns, and most importantly, how to go about transmuting them so they can deliver their gift of service to the world. That special thing that they've been searching for their entire life. So let's introduce ourselves. I've been on this path for, how long now? I've lost count. 35 years, I guess, 35, 36 years. And from a very young age in New Zealand, I was searching for my true purpose. And I always felt that school and work and university never really gave me the answer. And I had been searching for this for a good 15 years. And then, because New Zealand's so far away from anywhere in the world, we have this thing called the OE, the Overseas Expedition, where we travel around the world for a couple of years to see what's out there. Just that I didn't go back permanently. And on my journeys, my spiritual awakening occurred. That was one of the main reasons. And it led me to travel all over Asia and Europe. And I ended up in actually Asia initially, I think it was. Yeah, Asia and Europe. And I ended up on a workshop called the Carousel of Growth with Frank Upper, who was the founder of the work we do with the soul contract reading. And he called it the spiritual numerology of Moses. And he took out a Star of David and asked me for my birth name when I was on this workshop. I had a private session with him and explained my entire life by decoding my name, turning it into Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, extracting the numbers inherent with it and doing a bit of maths around the star. And suddenly this chaotic, crazy life with all these disparate, seemingly unrelated events made complete sense. And that was a major awakening. I was 30 then, I think. Yeah. And I thought, I found my home. These are my people, and this is the knowledge I want to embody. So I stayed on for about 6 weeks, 7 weeks in the States, because the second course, I came back 6 weeks later, was training in this work. And I brought it to England, and I've been developing it ever since, expanding it and trying to help as many people as possible wake up to who they truly are. So I'm here to share this work with you, still passionate about it. And 33 years later, it's still never a dull moment with it. And so I'm here to find out now what you guys need from this, so we can shape this webinar around whatever you want. So just wave at me or put it in the chat if you're hidden away. Just tell me what you need, because we can shape it around that. And just whether you read the book, just so I know your level of knowledge. I think some of you are coming on the training by the looks of it. So we can go to whatever depth you want with this. So who would like to introduce themselves first, just where you are, what brought you here, and what you need from the webinar, basically? Okay, Katie? Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi.
I am thrilled to be. I just found you this week, actually, and I have taken a comparable. Well, I don't know if I can say it's comparable, but I've taken a course in soul breathing with another teacher.
Yeah.
And it happens to leave more questions.
You have to come closer to the microphone.
It was a pre-recorded.
Yeah, you have to come closer to the microphone because it's breaking up a lot.
You can't. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
if you got a headset, you come much closer. We can hear you.
I've got.
Okay.
So I'm in Panama, and my internet is not always great.
That's a bit better. That's better already. Yeah. Just stay close to the screen. Yeah. Hardwired headphones will be better. Yeah, they'll work better.
So is that better?
Yeah, just bring the microphone up to your mouth.
Better?
Yeah, it's a little better. Bring the microphone to your mouth, then we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, lift the microphone up to your mouth, then that'll work better, I think.
Hear me? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, Shannon, I see you shaking. So yes, you can hear me. Okay, so anyway, I am here because I had a lot of questions from the last training that I did. I did have a reading like you, Nicolas. I have been doing work on myself for 30 some odd years. And finally, in my late 60s, I had a reading and it just gave me so many answers, and it just made life and all that I'd gone through so much clearer. And it also showed that my life purpose is to use this system to help others. I was a nurse for 40 years and wanted to get out of the healing business, but apparently my soul had a different idea about things. So I am hoping, I'm really eager to get into your live course with you. It looks like it's so much more complete, and there were so many puzzle pieces missing in my other course. So I'm no pressure, but I'm really excited about taking your course and getting the information that I need, because I am about to launch a business, Soul Speak Coaching, and Soul Speak came to me as a download, and so that I'm excited, but I want to give the best service I can to people and help them in the best way. So that's why I'm here. And today, last night I listened to your clearing for people that are into business and using their gifts and needed some help that. And I have to tell you, it was very powerful. At first, I really didn't feel much. And then all of a sudden, I was burping and yawning and crying. And it was just amazing. So really excited to also go on your Divine Healing course in June as well. So I'll be in the training in March, the level 1. I'm going to start over with you and go from there. So it's amazing how Spirit just kind of gives you the people, brings people, places, things, and opportunities when it's right. So thank you in advance. And I'm glad to meet all of you. And I look at the community because I'm an expat. I just sold everything and wasn't happy in the US, everything, and came to Panama on my own. I don't speak the language, so I'm trying. And I really haven't found my tribe here. There's not a lot of spiritual speakers that I'm resonating with or finding at this point. So this community will be great for me as well. So hello to everybody.
Okay. Look forward to working with you, Katie. Yeah. All right. Who else wants to introduce themselves? We've got, oh, you said hola there. Okay. Okay, who else would like to say hi? Shannon, you sort of got a hand partially moving up there, or no?
I'm not techie, that's the other team.
Okay, so Josephine.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a nurse midwife by training. And I am a transplant from Southeast London.
Oh, really?
So right now I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. Yes. And I would say that I've been sort of there was something out there that was a secret since I was about 16 years old and even before then. But in 1982, I had what I call a really powerful spiritual awakening. And I didn't tell anyone about it or discuss it with anyone for 12 years because of fear of being judged or being admitted to a psychiatric hospital. I just kept it to myself. And then after 10 years, I had a discussion with a religious leader, a minister, a church that I used to go to. And I relayed the experience I had with the 12 years previous. He said to me, you know, Josephine, when people are stressed, they imagine all kinds of things. So I sort of took a step back and thought, no, this was real, and I'm going to find out what it was. And my search started then, like in 1992, 93. And eventually I found here in St. Louis people that did meditation and all kinds of different things. And I've been my way up and had several awakenings. And I do have a practice. However, I have an innate feeling of not really revealing myself to everyone. I kind of keep the secret. It's not safe. It's like just my friends know it and friends of friends. So right now I'm looking to sort of clear that so that I know that I'm supposed to be doing a worldwide mission, because in 2016 I had an assessment done by the first thing she said to me, Josephine, ever since you knew you were supposed to do great things, why haven't you done it yet? And she said, you have enough energy coming in that you can fill an entire stadium. That was very scary. So I know that I need to do something much more doing. So that's why I've really joined this group. I've been exposed to the soul contract profiles about a year or almost 2 years ago that I've been kind of playing with, and I've got the book that I've read, and I'm very interested in it. And I will be doing the training starting in March.
Look forward to working with you, Josephine.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Who's next? The more I know about what you need, the more we can focus it on meeting that need. Shannon, do you want to say anything, or?
Yeah, up officially, so I was trying to not override the official process. So I'll jump in. My name is Shannon Renee. I'm a soul coach. I've been on this journey since I was 19. I've always been connected to spirit and always known there's something different in like what the hell's going on with the adults around here. Like, why don't people see this? And I haven't had any psychic phenomenon or any of that. Just knowing in this relationship with, and I grew up really religious. On one hand with my grandmother and very violent, traumatic addiction at home. So lots of beautiful trauma in my home life, but then my grandmother brought the spirituality. So I was 19, tried to kill myself, got a DWI, and that was kind of my big awakening, like, okay, this I can't be living this way anymore. And just got divorced after 25 years. My daughter's 18, my only child, become an empty nester. So I'm just ready to shed all of the layers of the old identity, which is freaking hard, but I'm doing it. And I'm just ready to step into this new being that I'm being called to be. And I've done like everything. I've had all kinds of readings. I've played with everything. I'm also a certified EFT, emotional freedom techniques practitioner, matrix re-imprinting. And I do a little bit of the Pythagoras numerology, which is like life path number and personal year number, which people love, but it's not deep. so I've been obsessed with soul path and planning since I discovered Robert Schwartz's book. And it was like, yes, we have a plan. There is a way to access that and an understanding of why we make choices and how we make choices. But I've always been frustrated that it seems like there's only one person on the planet that I know of that has access to that. That can't be fair. So I'm excited to learn, although I will say I have a strong resistance to anything that's complicated. The book looks really complicated. So my brain is like, yeah, no, I don't want to do it. So whatever block that is, it's keeping me from wanting to learn. And I'll say I was cleaning up all my social media accounts, and I have 2 Facebook accounts. And I was looking at the old one, and I saw that I was a member of your, I think, Soul Contract Readers group, some group. And I saw you, and I was like, what is this Soul Contract Decoded thing? Which I totally forgot that I had investigated years ago. And now I've just been obsessed watching all of your webinars and all of your stuff and on YouTube and your classes. And I'm super interested in the training, because I feel like what's keeping me from putting myself out there is I don't have a solid tool that I know is going to help people get something that's meaningful. And I have the healing tools. I think the EFT, the matrix reimprinting, all the other energy alchemy stuff that I do can help them break down those walls and process through that. But it's so arduous to get to what is the core belief and where did it come from. And if this thing really works, like everybody says, I feel like it'll be the missing piece. It'll give me the confidence and the tool that I know I can really go in and help people get started. So that's kind of what I'm looking here to get here. And I'm really curious about the how, when the title of the webinar is how to transmute their karmic gifts. Like, what is that process, and how can I, as a practitioner, actually help them do that? Like, what does that mean? What's the process of that? So, okay. And I'm in Austin, Texas.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to those answers in a short while. All right. Someone, I can't recognize who this is. It says, warm greetings to all from Iowa. It's just a photo here. I'm here to gain a clearer understanding of the steps needed to be able to provide in-depth reading, soul contract readings to my clients. Is that Monica, is it? If you just want to put it in the chat, because there's no name on it, but it looks like, it could be Monica. Okay, so that's that one. Rehan, welcome.
Nicolas, that's me.
Who is it?
Nicolas, this is Donna. You know, that's my comment. I'm surprised you're not seeing it, but yeah, I see it just says me. That is what I'm looking to do. I'm located in Piasta, Iowa. I resonate with everybody's stories. I've had similar experiences throughout my lifetime. I'm an energy healing practitioner, working with the emotion code and the body code modalities. And one of the things that we all tend to want to see is something, you know, we struggle with energy, you know, energy work and how can you manipulate energy and all that. And people struggle with that because they're so used to want to seeing something in black and white. And when the universe brought me to Nicolas and to these soul contracts, it's kind of like, wow, you know, I can see, you know, even, you know, recently I had the in-depth one because somebody else had done one for me, but we just did a Zoom session. But I got the in-depth contract in print of my own. And it was like, yes, I can see how I can present this picture to them in hard copy and help them grasp to a certain degree, you know, how the things that have been happening in their life, you know, fit into these different aspects of the soul contract. And it really kind of brought things together and just go, yeah, you know, this is kind of, I too have been looking for a tool, looking for something. And like I've talked with Nicolas a couple of times and have been guided to that he's doing. And I too am contemplating, not totally committed yet to the March training, but, you know, trying to grasp all of this and want to make sure, is this really what I'm looking for? I believe it is, but it's, I am one to, give me the factual information. I'm the analytical also in there. So yeah. Nice seeing everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Donna. All right, so welcome, Rayhan. So if you're in the attendees room, so if you want to join us in the main panel here, just where you can actually switch the video on and talk. You can actually talk where you are now. You can just say yes to the little box that comes up, or you can just stay in the room and you can talk from there, or you can just message me on the chat. So this is about. It could be good to hear what you actually want to. What you need from it, along with you, Mark and Monica, if you want to message me in the chat. It's entirely up to you. You can engage with this as much or as little as you like. So, sounds like we're jumping in the deep end here, you guys, thinking about the training. So, basically, it's not about the book, Shannon. The book is a subset of the training manual for level 1 of burst readings. We don't read through the book and we don't read through the manual. It's a completely different learning process. It's full-bodied experiential learning and activation that we do on the training. So you will sit in the field for 5 days of the energy. And for the first 3 days, we will use them different aspects of the names or the charts for each of the students as examples of how the numbers work. And they'll tell you, and you'll feel from their direct, visceral, sometimes dramatic and painful life experience what a number means. So you'll receive a transmission of the 22 numbers by that means for 3 days. And you'll never forget it. And it will activate the energy in your DNA and your energy fields. So basically, the course is about becoming the work. Your left brain's tried to understand the book. Some people say they've read it multiple times. It's not about understanding it, it's about becoming it. That's the purpose of the training. So you have spent 3 days getting activated, and then on the 4th and 5th day, you'll be shocked that you'll actually be able to deliver really good readings because you have become it. Because you give and receive readings in the last 2 days. So that's what the course is about. So it's sitting in the field, energy transmission, activation, entrainment. So it's not a learning process, it's a becoming process. That's about the best way I can summarize the course. Okay, so a lot of people feel because they've read the book and they come, I'm going to go into greater depth. You're going to become it, which is completely different. And we will help you hone your intuition, your channel, so you can connect to higher consciousness and have a cosmic dialogue with your clients, and their life will be forever changed. Sort of up there, like having your first child and stuff like that, in terms of just awakening. If you think back when you had a reading, if you've had a live one, it's sort of that level. People will wake up and you'll create profound change in people, because when the truth is heard, and it'll be channeled through you via the soul contract guides and through the structure you picked up on the course and your activation into it, you'll just have a cosmic dialogue with them. It's like an initiation, awakening process, and we teach you how to hold space for that. So it's not a data dump, as I say on the training. It's a cosmic, conscious, spiritually driven dialogue from their high self to your high self, of what they need to hear in that moment to awaken them to the hidden secret of their life, so they can get on with it. And it only comes to people when they're ready, because they can cope with it. So that's a summary of the training, really. How does that sound, Shannon? Everyone's gone mostly frozen, I think. Maybe if I close a few other applications here, might go better. Yeah.
That sounds great to me. I'm kind of done with the whole left brain approach to life. So
Yeah, there's minimal left brain stuff on this. I'm going to close a few other windows. I think there's a lot of, I need a bit more memory to, okay, you guys, I'm starting to move again. Hang on. Give me a minute.
And thank you for explaining that, Nicolas. That's awesome. And that's exactly what I'm looking for, a deeper connection, a deeper level. So perfect. I was wondering, and you knew that and answered it. So thank you.
Yeah,
Ditto to that, Nicholas. You just sold me. That's what I was looking for.
yeah. It's taken us nearly 30 years to work out how to teach this, but we've understood from our teaching team this is the way to do it. And so yeah, so it's got about 60 personal years of development gone into this, because our Mira Aria Halea used to run the center with me. She and I developed it from about 12 pages that Frank Alper gave me, and he just talked about this on a 7-day training, and it's evolved into the system it has now. So those of you who are looking for the source of it, Frank's passed over, you found the source in the English-speaking world of it, and we tried to maintain the purest transmission, but in a slightly more grounded way than Frank was. He had a lot of strong spiritual, we call it Frank speak, Amir and I, because it was very esoteric. You found the source. So we give it to you undiluted, nothing is removed, nothing, we just expand it within the existing structure. Okay, we don't dumb it down, we don't turn it into something to try and reach more people, we just make it accessible. So this is the place to come if you really want the truth, which is why everyone always ends up here who really wants the truth. But each teacher does it in their own way. Most of the English-speaking teachers come via us, or they're the progeny of other teachers, but it gets changed depending on whose ego filter it goes through. It's just a natural process of the way knowledge is propagated. So we just aim to offer you the purest offering to maintain this transmission of the lineage. So yeah, if you're feeling that something's missing, well, you won't feel that at the end of the course. So hopefully you'll feel pretty satisfied that you've found the right place, because you've all been searching for the ultimate truth of life your whole lives probably, and that's what we aim to give you. No small claim, but let me know at the end whether you feel that's happened. Okay.
Nicolas, can I ask a question? You spoke about your book, and I was about to order that. Since it's a whole separate entity from the training, is it best to wait? I know you want to sell the books as well, but is it best to wait until after the training so that maybe I have more of a frame of reference and it'll make more sense?
The book has a lot of spiritual philosophy behind the work, which we don't have time to get into in the training. It gives a whole structure of ascension and how the whole thing fits in and how to live your life using the work. So the book is a very good precursor preparation for the training. Okay.
I'll get it. Thank you.
And the book is based upon the manual for level 1, except we take some things out, which you'll find, because some things are quite controversial, quite strong, which you can't put in a public document. Would cause problems. So yeah, it's a good intro. It'll make it easier. It'll step you up in frequency, because it's a very strong frequency of the book. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's have a look here. So Shannon, I'm going to get onto the more basic structure in a minute, but I just want to answer these questions. So how to transmute karma? Well, the key thing is to bring consciousness to it, which is what the soul contract work does. If you're not conscious of what you're dealing with, there's no way you're going to clear it, because you have no idea what's under the emotional iceberg, in the emotional iceberg below the emotional waters. So the soul contract brings consciousness light to all of the programs that a client carries. So it basically disarms the ego in a loving way from all the games it's playing. Because when the truth is heard, you can't put it back. And so it blows the ego's game of keeping someone in separation from God. So it gives you the true spiritual map of life, of where the soul wants to go. But the personality has a free will choice down here. And if they're not awake enough, not conscious enough, often most people are not on the spiritual path, or not, if they are, not as aligned as they could be. And you sort of notice it out there in the world. Gallop to the pole. 90% of people are emotionally disconnected from their work, which basically, allowing for the margin of error, that's most people who do 3D jobs because they're not aligned with the flow of their spirit. And they're suffering enormously, as you've noticed. Some of you have been in that place, or may still be there. So this gives you the spiritual map of life, and it brings consciousness to we teach you on the training to find out where someone actually is, how far they've progressed down that map. Because unless you know what the map is and where you're on it, you're not going to get very far. It's like driving around at night in a car with lights switched off, no sat nav, trying to go from Los Angeles to New York. You're not going to get very far. You're going to crash pretty quickly. So here we switch the lights on, we provide the spiritual sat nav, and then you can apply tools like divine healing, which has already been mentioned. It goes very well with this, or EFT, or matrix reimprinting, whatever you're passionate about. You can laser target your existing tools, plus most of our practitioners do divine healing and soul contract because they're a very powerful synergistic pair. And then because you know what the issue is, okay, you can target it, and then you can clear it a lot quicker, especially with divine healing, which is based on asking you shall receive. So you can, when the client presents their symptoms, you can see immediately when the contract is happening, so you know in depth what the program is, if we can take it apart much quicker. And because the client knows this is true and their ego can't deny it anymore, okay, you're going to go a lot faster, you're going to build a lot of trust with people, they're going to go deep, and they're going to be pretty happy campers because their life is unlocking, and they'll be back for more, because why would they go to anyone else when you're helping them make their life work very rapidly? Okay, so this is like the key to get you out of the matrix jail. This is what this work does. Okay, and some people give up because they don't have the map and they don't have the means of clearing the pathway of going down the spiritual map of life. So you get a pretty unpleasant result, as you can see in the state of the world, because it's all run by the ego. So did that help, Shannon? That give you clarity?
Yeah, I mean, I have questions, but I'm sure they'll unfold as we go.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go to the presentation and sort of skip through it now. Okay, here. Let me have a look. Just gonna find it. Okay, I know why you're here now. It's a good start. And we need to go to talk about this gift of service. And most of us are just trying to survive here in the matrix, let alone deliver a gift. What am I on about here? So we are sparks of the divine. We are part of the creator. I'll see if I got a diagram for that. Yeah. It varies which diagram I use in these presentations. I got all of them here. So yeah, I'll say the other thing, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just sharing what I do. And if you feel resonant to engage, that's up to you, because there's the right timing for this if you're meant to come for this sort of work. So we all come from source. This is the one great soul, great spirit, whatever you want to call it, that forms this universe. And so source wanted to know itself. So it spent a lot of time thinking about this, but then it realized you need to have an experience of all that is, all that I can be. So source is in the 12th dimension. So what it did is it had an outbreath a very long time ago in terms of our perception of time. And it densified itself from the 12th dimension all the way down to the 3rd dimension till we in these apparently solid bodies. So in you is a spark of source, spark of God, the soul. But we got so dense that we actually forgot who we were. So we feel like we're little humans in these earth suits, and we don't have a sense that there's a God. A lot of people don't. And the idea of this was to see how separate source could get from itself, and then see if these sparks can remember how to get back to source and ascend in consciousness, which is what we're doing. So this was the out-breath of source. In 1987, harmonic convergence, we got to the maximum sense of separation. You remember the 80s when they had, there was, the Cold War? That was maximum separation. And now we're going back home, the source. So what source is doing is it wants to experience all aspects of itself through us. So we are the creator creating. It's not and the creator is not some little old white guy with a long beard sitting in space in a big white throne. We are the sparks of the creator creating in our incarnate form. And this happens on billions of planets in this galaxy. 40 billion, NASA said, planets are just like Earth. So it's source wanting to know itself through direct visceral experience in this case, a human body with an ego personality, and we can understand that personality by looking at the soul contract, at the sounds of the name. So we take the name, we take a set of frequencies, and we choose them before we come in to incarnate. And it's based upon our previous experience of what we had in other lifetimes with different personalities. We take the next increment of growth. And this is how we design our lives. And we choose a name that we telepath to our mother, father. Those of you parents, you think about there's only 2 or 3 names you could call your kids. It's because the baby's telling you. So it gives you a semblance of free will, but actually there isn't really any. And so hopefully that 99% of the time, the kids are hoping that you will pick the right name. Okay. And so that name settles in the DNA and the energy fields, and it, by the law of attraction, radiates out to the matrix here, and the matrix rearranges around that name. That's what the matrix does. Whatever you unconsciously mostly put out to you, the matrix, it'll manifest and create your reality. So 2 different people with 2 different contracts will have a different experience in the same physical space. And so if we understand what that attraction code is in the soul contract, understand what you're creating, therefore you can change it for the better. Because a whole bunch of stuff's going to come at you called karma to get your attention. And karma is particularly strong when you're younger. Okay, to get your attention, because when we have pain in life, we tend to move away from it. We tend to want to do something about it. So the purpose of karma, which is by the law of opposites, is the opposite of what we to become, is to get our attention and move in the direction that the soul wants us to move in, but out of our free will choice. So the idea is to, law of opposites goes with law of attraction. So we don't get the nice stuff initially. You get the hard stuff. But the idea is to turn into the karma with our feeling consciousness and transmute it and to turn it into our gift of service. So if you had a lot of disempowerment when you were younger, I did. I felt like a victim most of my life. The aim for me, for example, is to transmute it into positive power, overcome all that disempowerment, and help empower others to grow. So our greatest learning comes out of our greatest pain in life. If we have the drive and courage to do that, some people give up simply because it's just too much. It's quite understandable. But the purpose of the work is to show people that the hard stuff, hard lessons they have, are the gifts of service. The last place you would ever look was in the pain you have in your life. You think it's somewhere else, but it's not. It's actually in your karmic pattern. And if you can transmute it and deliver that gift, then you have a different life. Okay? Because what happens is that over time, I'm trying to find a different pen here. Here it is. This is time. This is power. Initially, the power of our karmic patterns is very strong when we're born, but it diminishes over time if we do some work on ourselves. And the power of our soul is less because the lower frequency karmic patterns are stopping the expression of the soul. But if we consciously work on ourselves, the power of the soul rises because the frequency in the body rises as we clear low frequency karmic patterns. And this is where you use your divine healing, matrix re-imprinting, whatever, EFT, to get here. And the aim is to get to this point of soul integration, or threshold of soul integration, where the power of the soul becomes stronger than the power of the karma, the drag weight of the karma. And then what happens is that life starts to get really interesting, because you're claiming and you're expressing and delivering your gift of service once you start to get to here. And this becomes a positive feedback loop. So the more karma you clear, the more powerful the soul gets in its expression. This is the good stuff in life. This is where life really starts to flow. So you need to understand what the karma is first, which is what the soul contract reading does. And then you need to apply the healing tools so you can actually get to this threshold of soul integration. So the goal is to come over here. Okay. Most people are stuck down here. Okay. Because you got to feel your way through this, because all the soul wants to do is feel within the karma, the negative feeling, negative programming, and then bring as much consciousness to it as possible and transmute it, and then move gradually to a positive state. I'll say, from my case, from disempowerment to empowerment. And that is the meaning of life for everybody. It's to go from a negative to a positive state on a particular pattern, and there are 22 of them you can choose from. And that process is how it learns. It learns from being in a dense, emotionally intense bodily experience. And you can't get this in the high dimensions, which is why there's a big queue upstairs to come into here. And you're thinking, man, I got a place. Why did I say yes to that on a bad day? Okay. So there's about 10 other souls or more who didn't get in because you managed to get a place. So you won the earth lottery. Okay. This is actually what we're doing. And this is how the creator learns. The creator, me, the spark of the creator, is learning about the proper use of power. Okay. So this is a major thing to help explain to people who, if you're going to learn this, which most of you are by the sounds of it, you're going to decode the secrets of the blueprint of your life, which creates a reality, so they can overcome their karma, express their latent talents, achieve their goals, and align to and manifest their soul life purpose, and live a very fulfilling life rather than a frustrated life. Okay. Not many people can say at the end of their life, yeah, I did everything I came to do, and I'm satisfied. So this allows you to hold space to actually achieve that for people, help them, facilitate them getting there. Because people know this is true when they hear it. And so people's commitment and drive, there's no hesitation. I know this is true, so I'm just going to get on with it, because why would I do anything else? I spent all this time doing a ton of other stuff, and it didn't really get me where I wanted fully. So, because there's a whole range of people here watching this, I'll explain how we decode the name. So what we do is that we basically need to take the Hebrew sounds within someone's name and decode them on the Star of David. We have two triangles. This is a gateway of consciousness you need to enter into on Earth before you're allowed in. You have to say, you go before the karmic board of Earth and say, here's my plan, and they look at it, they give advice, but in the end, the soul finally chooses. They say, well, that seems reasonable, or they'll make suggestions. They may say, oh, it's a bit too much, a bit too strong, you need to back off on a few things, or you could enhance this one. And the soul designs the lifetime. And we decode the lifetime by analyzing the numbers on the Star of David. And it has two major big triangles. There's a physical one and a spiritual one. So we as personality constructs in our earth suits, it's like the movie Avatar. We just climbed into this for 80, 90, 100 years, however long it is, to have a specific, unique experience. We need to learn to walk and talk our personalities, because it's brand new each lifetime. We've not had any past lives, but the soul has with other personalities. And we are here to learn to walk and talk, get conditioned responses, relationships, careers, kids, and all that sort of stuff. That gets you established for the first 5 cycles of 7 years. And in the sixth cycle, between 35 and 42, or younger, sometimes older, we transition to the spiritual triangle. And this is where we have the midlife crisis, dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening, where we look at our life and say, I was 37, I was working in the city of London in the corporate world and satellite communications. And there was a moment where I just felt an angel in the form of a cloud about 200 foot long flew by, and I thought, that's a major sign. And then within 3 months, I decided I'm going to leave this job, which I was pretty happy in up to that point. So the soul triggers you to the predominant shift to the spiritual triangle. This is the true mission, and it's hoping that you've established a good physical triangle energy to build the spiritual mission. So this is where we change jobs. I changed countries. I left that job, went traveling around the world for a year. Then came back and started this. I'd already started this business part-time. When I saw that cloud, I'd started this business in the weekend, but I went part-time 3 months later. And then went traveling, then came back to England and ran this as a full-time business. So the spiritual triangle builds on the physical triangle, and basically the mission starts to happen. And within each triangle, these three aspects is karma, talents, and goals. And karma, as I said, of unresolved past life issues the soul brings in for us to transmute with the physical talents, which are latent, into our gifts of service, if it's a good match. If it's not, it takes more time. And as the latent talents get stronger, that moves us to the soul distance, the physical goals, what excites us about life. I like connecting with people and sharing, which is why my 8s are about connecting with people. I have 8s there and I have 4 here, which is about sharing. So basically, physical talents help with physical karma, transmute to the gifts of service, help the physical goals come online. And the spiritual karma is how you access higher consciousness to embody that. Okay? Because if you clear the ego enough and the frequency of the body rises, that means you can then embody more of the higher self, higher consciousness, more soul components to bring the mission online. So the key thing is to understand what the soul contract is, clear the ego as much as you can to raise the frequency of the body, and then that enables high frequency to embody because it can handle the high frequency body. It can't handle the low frequency programming. And then this embodiment and expression of higher consciousness manifests the gift of service. Because it's not little us sitting in our earth suits doing it. We're the vessel or the conduit, higher consciousness, to deliver its mission. So it's not entirely up to you guys. So don't feel it's all up to you. It's not. Your responsibility is to create the cleanest possible, most conscious vessel for spirit to express through, and surrender and let it guide you. And it's much easier that way because your higher self already designed this plane a long time ago. Just that you're on catch up basically. And if you're not sure where it's going, just follow in the moment what opens your heart, because there is a plan, and it was only revealed to you when you're ready, layer by layer. Okay, so, and here, the spiritual talents are latent. They overcome the spiritual karma and turn it into your gifts of service, and they activate the spiritual goals. So, when someone is conscious of all the 6 aspects here, what happens is that you can accelerate your spiritual growth enormously. This is time, this is percentage complete. You're going to go a lot faster because you're going to know that 80% of the things you were doing are a waste of time, because it was the ego guessing. And you can spend 20% of your effort, or 80% of your effort on 20% of things that do matter in terms of manifesting and working through the issues of the 6 aspects. And then what happens is that they feed into the soul destiny, life purpose, and that starts to manifest that. And it manifests in layers. You only hear so much at a time, layer by layer. Like when I left the corporate world, I didn't quite know what I was going to do. I just knew I needed to leave it, so I just trusted it. I really hadn't formulated a plan for this business I'm here. I just knew I had to leave. I'll just follow my nose. Yeah, they thought I was pretty crazy, people in the office, but I'm a lot happier. So the surprising question they asked was, how did you escape? I had that from about 3 of them. How did you escape? In brackets, the matrix. That's what they really wanted to know. That was fascinating. Wasn't what I expected, because some of them were so dependent on it they couldn't leave. But I was fortunate I managed to. So they manifest the soul destiny. So consciously working on these 6 outer aspects through knowing what they are, having the right tools to transmute them, means the soul destiny will manifest. Like, I had no idea I was going to write a book. It was just in 2011, my guide said, time to write a book. I said, what book? What are we going to write a book about? They said, on the subcontract work. Because Frank Harper never finished the book he wrote. So, and he was there guiding me as well, especially on the case studies. He was talking to me in this Brooklyn accent, this guide. So he'd already designed a lot of it. He said, this is what I reckon we should have. So I said, okay, we'll put it in. So I just followed my nose. And in each moment, so there's no 5-10 year business plan at all. It's just, there's a divine plan, and just got to surrender to it and just trust the feeling of it. Okay, so that's the principle of how it works. So I think we'll do a little demo, especially for guys who haven't had an experience of this. So who hasn't had a reading? Who hasn't had a reading? Okay, Katie. Okay, so you happy for me to do this for you? You have to switch your microphone on.
I would love it.
Okay, so let's find out. We're going to do a brief taster reading. So I'll put your commonly used name here. So what's your birth name, Katie? Exactly as it's on birth certificate.
It's Kathy, Kathy. Lee, Leigh. Leigh.
Yep.
Kullman, Kullman.
Where's Kullman from? Where's that from?
Germany. It was Kuhlman.
Okay. Have I spelled that right?
You did.
Yeah. I won't put your birthday in there because it's a public video. So you're happy for me to analyze this?
Okay, thank you.
So it needs a data usage permission here. So the software here, this is soulcontractreader.com. It's just going to analyze it real quick. So I'll just show you how this works. I'll explain how this works. So basically, the software turns the name into Hebrew sounds. You notice like TH is one Hebrew sound here, for example. Produces all the Hebrew sounds, and these 22 Hebrew letters we use. And it extracts the Hebrew letters inherent within the Hebrew alphabet. It's not an allocation of numbers to the English alphabet at all. It's completely different. These 22 sounds of God, which are in ancient Hebrew, come out of the movement of Great Spirit and the creation of creation. Okay, they come out of the flower of life. All right. So what we're doing here is that we're decoding directly the frequencies of God, which is why this thing is so powerful. It's no dilution of it here. And then we take these numbers and we allocate them starting at physical karma in a clockwise spiral around the star till we use them all up. Then we add them up. So the total, say in spiritual karma, is 17. And so there's 2 frequencies of 17. And then we go 1 plus 7 is 8. And these are just English letters for matching Hebrew frequency. It's not normal maths. So in spiritual karma, there's what we call a negative or learning expression of 17, negative expression of an 8. Plus, you could be any blend of the 2 in between. Okay. In physical karma, the total is 41, which has no meaning because the soul of Moses is channeled through Frank Harper in the 80s. The meaning of the 22 numbers, so we have to go 4 plus 1 equals 5, the first number between 1 and 22. We get a 5 here. 5 plus nothing gives another 5, so we're what's called a double number. These are called combination numbers. This is a double number, 1 frequency. So Katie, you've got a range of frequencies with these aspects here, but this one's very specific. It's the soul destiny. Then what we do is we take the physical numbers and put them on the top half of the table. Spiritual numbers on the bottom half. The math is pretty simple. But we do have the software simply because it saves any errors. We add up the two columns, get 80 and 35. That has to come to the first number between 1 and 22. 8 plus 0 is 8. 3 plus 5 is 8. That goes in the middle, the soul destiny. And these little squiggly guys who I love are symbols that Frank channeled through, which have a very specific meaning. Just gonna have a drink. So, Katie, what's the most important question you have about your life that you want to share here? And I'll just answer it briefly within the context of this. I'll give a brief reading so people can see how it works.
I'm really looking for clarity with my mission. I think I'm a healer. I think I have kind of already, I felt like a victim for most of my life because I went through a lot of trauma and I didn't understand it. So when I got into the other program, it kind of made sense to me, my experiences, but I really am having difficulty figuring out the niche. At one point, I thought my niche was to help kids that were abused. Then I thought it was more single women like me, older, that are too afraid to get off the couch and on with their life. But I'm also attracting a lot of 28, 30-year-old women that are just starting out. And I feel like they are more motivated to change jobs to really be open to something like this than the people my age. So I'm kind of all over the place with my niche and my business. So I guess I want that kind of clarity, unless you see something more important.
Yeah, I want to answer. I just got a question here. So Rayhan, you got a question? Just if you just unmute and ask me the question. It's quick just to ask me rather than
actually, hi, hello, everyone.
Hi.
I don't want to disturb right now in between. My question was general. Maybe you finish her reading and then after that I can speak more.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a summary here. So Katie, you are here to overcome the fear of persecution, to speak the truth and be a pioneer in the world. Okay, and you're a nurse because you were here to be of pure service to others with spiritual energy. So you're here to serve with integrity. Okay, and you're here to overcome disempowerment, to come into your power to empower others and make a decision to follow the path of God. How am I doing so far?
Right on.
Yeah.
So was the angel speaking to me when I quit my job at 62, took early retirement, sold everything, and moved to a country I knew nobody and didn't know the language, but seemed to be thriving here at this
This is about trusting in the flow, taking the leap, and it's worked out fine, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. More than fine.
And you're here to overcome suppression of your emotions, probably from childhood, so you can learn to step out and connect with people out in society. Okay, engage with people with pure unconditional love of the divine feminine aspect of God, to share that. So definitely here to work with women, with the feminine, I'd say, maybe in the masculine, but definitely here to work with. So working with young women will be fine to empower, especially in the face of the masculine. Okay. And I'd say you're here to work with women out in society here, definitely. That's linked to this. That's what I say you're here to do.
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
You're here to work with women out in society to empower them.
Yeah.
Okay. And to help them choose to follow the path of God, but do it in a very grounded way. But also work on the cutting edge, which is why you're drawn to this work, because this is cutting edge spiritual truth. Because mainstream stuff, spiritual stuff, sort of bores you, really. It's like,
Yes. Oh
Been
my
there, done
God.
that. I'm just not.
Yes.
Yeah. Next.
It's not me. And I know there's something else out there that's new
Yeah.
and innovative. Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is what this is about. So here to be a pioneer working with women, I'd say, in service, and help them express themselves in society. I mean, the world's gone through massive shifts in the past 3 years, where the points of darkness which have kept us separate from God are being very revealed completely, as you're seeing out in the world. And it's our job as light workers to rebuild the new world based on love, connection, unity, community. And we've been having the opposite of that for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's got particularly bad in the past couple hundred years. Our job is to rebuild a new world, because the entire matrix as we were born into is dissolving rapidly. So there's no one else going to do it. It's us. That's why we came. So you're passionate about a mission, guys. Now's the time to get on with it. Not next year or 5 years. It's now, because there's a big vacuum forming, and that's where we step in. And there's more of us than there are of them to create a better world, because we are creating a world out of love and higher consciousness. Okay, so it's been a patriarchal world for a long time. It didn't used to be. So I'd say you're here to empower these millennial young women to make a difference, to turn their confidence and their vision into a grounded reality, because you have a lot of life experience. Now, they have a lot of confidence, but it's pretty thin often because they don't have the experience to actually turn something into reality. I watch my 20-year-old son and other young ones. They have all these wonderful ideas, but don't know, they can't get traction. They don't quite know how to make it happen. Whereas we do at our generation, we know exactly what to do because we have the experience. So I think that's your role. Help them manifest their potential, share their love, move into their feminine. So they use that as their core source of their power. Power is not in the sense of macho power. It's about consciousness, of the power of conscious love. Because women especially have become more masculine in the world, just especially in the West, to survive, because it's been a patriarchal world, and they lose their femininity, so they lose their real power. So we need to rebalance that. And there's a need to get clear within you of the masculine and feminine aspects of you, and the balance that you're going to hold within that in terms of your spiritual service. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Is that clear?
So
Mission clear now?
that is clear. Yeah, very clear. So, and let me just ask you one more thing. So you see that I am, I've cleared enough. That I can start this process.
I don't know you well enough. I just met you.
Okay. Okay.
But the key, the most important thing on any mission is first understand what it is, which is what this work is about.
Yeah.
And the next thing is to work it out more in depth, because you're coming on the training, I think, aren't you? So work in depth how far you progress through each of these. And then what is the next step? Because we go from wherever we are, and our ego is always going to feel we're much more advanced than we actually are, much more conscious. So ego feels about 80% clear. We're usually about 5% clear. It's just the way it works. It's just a big joker, really. Right? It's the way it works. So the most important thing is to be grounded and present with whatever comes up, no matter how unpleasant it is, because it's the only way forward. You've got to do the work with whatever you've got left to burn through, which is why we hear things like divine healing. Okay. So to get clear takes a lot more work than any of us would like to acknowledge. But what other choice do you have? Because that's the key to the mission happening. This dissolve the ego, then you can express the soul. I drew this diagram is very important. To move out of here, to move over here, to cross the threshold of soul integration. And that's when it gets really interesting. That's when the mission really starts to unfold. That's the really exciting bit about life. And even understanding this and being aligned is pretty exciting for most people, let alone manifesting it into physical form. That's when it gets really exciting. It's actually out there making a difference. Yeah.
I did some shadow work with a shaman. And I don't know.
It's a good start. The shadows in here. This is the 9. This is a disempowered dragon. So I'd do more of that.
Okay.
Because there's a what's called a shadow destroyer in here with a dragon. So you can bring consciousness to that destroyer from past lives where you've been a perpetrator of the misuse of power and turn that into a positive power to empower these women.
Perfect.
That's what this is about.
Okay.
So
I'm going to sign up and have a reading, another reading with you, a full reading. So thank you so much for this,
Okay.
this information
Yeah.
today.
So no one is a goody two shoes. We play both dark and light. It's normal. Okay. Shannon, you had a question? No? Yes.
I don't know how deep you want to go into it, but I have a couple of questions. Like I've heard you on other webinars too, talk about the cutting edge, and she got really excited about that. Like, where is that? What indicates that on her chart?
The 5. The 5 is a
Okay.
pure abstract etheric energy of spirit. It's pure truth coming out of the abstraction of the astral plane and higher into this reality. The idea is to ground the pure truth of spirit and turn it into reality, and turn it into a grounded reality. It's to turn vision into reality, but it has to be cutting edge truth, okay? Because it's not polarized like it is in this reality. It's just truth is truth, and it's turning into a reality that's going to make a difference in the world. Okay, so anyone has 5s, most people who come to this training have 5s because they want the absolute truth, and they know when they find it, and they definitely know when they haven't got to it. It's like, nah, not quite there. Some of you expressed this already. Not quite there. There's something else. You can smell it and feel it, but you can't quite get to it. So do you feel you've got to it, Katie? So that's the 5. I found it at last. It's taken me decades, but I found it. I'm a happy camper. I found the thing.
I am totally happy, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be even happier after I go through your training, because that will be the real answer. And then, yeah, I can spread that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Shannon, you got more other questions? It feels like you got a list there.
Yeah, my let me think about this. It kind of ties into a question that came up after you were talking with her. To my question initially was that like just bringing the contract information to the consciousness doesn't dissolve the ego. Like you said, it can't deny it anymore, but it can fight it, right? So then it like brings up all its beautiful tactics even stronger to prevent you from dissolving it.
Yep.
And you talked about like, so now, so she sees it, what's the next step? So how do you as a practitioner help them do that process?
Well, so well, in our case, we applied divine healing, which is based on asking you shall receive. Basically, you align to the higher self, and it guides you. Will use the knowledge of the soul contract simply because you know it and the client knows it. Okay, bringing consciousness is half the journey for healing is understanding what it is. Because the ego doesn't want to let you know anything. And then once they know what it is, the client, and you know what it is, then you can go in with feeling consciousness and bring maximum consciousness to that layer. It's like a big ego onion of that issue. Then we ask the higher self to clear it. And then it just lays it out, it's gone. But then the next layer will come up, the next layer will come up. But it's a very fast process simply because everyone knows what they're doing for a change. Okay, and they have very powerful tools. So that's what you do. I understand. Soul contract takes you halfway. We know what it is, because previously it was an unknown thing. Therefore, it's not known. It's very hard to feel into exactly what that is. Therefore, you're not going to target this thing very well.
Yeah. So my other question was, I thought I heard like 2 different concepts on the free will thing, like saying that we do have free will, but then we really don't have free will.
Well, no, I was just saying as a parent, okay, usually a baby will give you 2 or 3 names. It'll blank you out on the rest because it wants a certain, any of those 3 names will give it the soul contract it wants. But the rest of the time you have free will to do whatever you like down here. This is God's gift to us. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But the child has an agenda, obviously. It wants a certain experience. So hopefully you don't mess it up as a parent. Most 99% of the time, parents get it right. That's why You have 2 or 3 names, the rest don't actually matter. Okay, because you just can't, it doesn't resonate because the child is actually focusing you energetically. I want this. You think about when you name your child.
Yeah, it's amazing because I heard you say that before in other webinars, and I'm just like, it was all very clear. Like it was a little bit of a process, but it was very clear. There weren't even 2 or 3 names. It was, she has 4 names because I only have 1 kid. So it's like she has 2 middle names, and it was just like so easy. And my husband had like nothing to say. I'm like, nope, this is her name. You
This
just
is
have
it.
to do it.
Done deal. We're done. Yeah. Okay. All right. Rehan, thanks for coming on. What's your question? You have to unmute. You have to unmute. That's it.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, hello. Thank you very much. Firstly, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah. Actually, I bought your book around 4 years ago. I wanted to, join your training, but things happen in the life, and I couldn't join your trainings. I think 2-3 weeks ago you had training. I missed that training as well, and I wanted to join, and just I come this meeting actually this training a little bit late. I'm so sorry. Actually, just I wanted to join so early, but again I missed my things. Actually, I want to mention about myself a little bit. About my journey, 5 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening, and I started soul searching about life, about the meaning of life, and that time I changed the country as well. I moved in that time into Australia, and to be honest, I had very how I should call, this I have been through so much things, in my childhood, emotional and physical abuse as a child, and it has been so hard to heal from all those traumas. And I couldn't handle it, the work I was doing till my 30s. And then after that, I got into, yoga, meditation, and I got trained to level shamanic training to, kind of clean my karma, my shadows, that's heal my inner child. But I think in some level I did work, but things in some level turn again in same cycle, just again turn back. Things happen, I had to go back to my country and look after my family. But whatever I had been through, it's kind of repeated itself. Just how I am calling it, because I read your book as well, I'm calling that like kind of karmic pattern was repeating itself. That's how I feel it, actually. And when I read your book as well, I did a reading for myself. Actually, I did by myself, because I read your book and I checked the things as well. And it was telling my sole purpose, it was involving writing books and etc. And 2020, actually, I wrote a book about inner child healing, and I published it. It has been 2 years, actually. It hasn't been so fulfilling for myself, that's kind of healing myself, changing myself in some level, and to help other people. I don't know, did I help other people? I have no idea, to be honest. But because of that, that's kind of, I got to step back and to look after myself, look after inside of myself, to heal myself, because that's satisfaction. I don't know, I didn't fulfill in some level why I am feeling that's kind of feeling again and again, whatever I am doing.
So, Rehan, we're going to get a little bit of time left. What's your main question? What is the main question you have?
My main question, actually, karmic patterns, even if you are trying to heal yourself, even if you are aware of whatever your karmic pattern is, can they repeat themselves again?
Yes.
Or,
well, what happens is that you can peel only so much of a pattern at a time, like with divine healing or matrix reimprinting, and a finer layer will come up. It's not that you missed it the first time, it'll keep coming back until you clear it all.
Yeah.
So it gets more subtle as you do it. So to get your attention, because it means there's more to go. and the pattern will repeat a lot, periodically through a lifetime. But eventually one day it'll go away when you've cleaned it all up, but that can take quite a long time. It's not all-
How
it's not all-
long it will?
It depends on how much work
Sorry?
you've got. It depends how much work you do. It depends how deeply embedded the program is. It's not
Okay.
going to go away
Do I have?
overnight. It's just
Yeah.
not going to disappear, because otherwise you'd have nothing to do.
There is no ending. Just I am wondering that, in
Well-
some level, it should go away. I don't know how I should describe it. That's intensity. That density should go away in some level, right?
Well, it's not
Or-
about going away. It's your job is to,
Yeah.
as I was saying, is to bring consciousness to it and feel it and have the right tools, like divine healing, for example, is what we use,
Yeah.
or whatever you're resonant with, to transmute it. So feel it
Yeah.
as much as you can and transmute it. Then get on with life. Next layer comes up, work on it again. It's continuous work. Then you'll start to feel better. Okay, it won't go away in a hurry, because the journey is to go from the negative expression of the pattern turn it into the gift of whatever that is. Okay.
Okay.
Life is intense down here because we learn faster. That's the whole point of it. Okay. Does that help? May not be the answer you want to hear, but that's actually how we progress. You can have a happier life, but you've got to do the work. There's no shortcut.
Yeah.
There is no shortcut. No matter what anyone says,
Actually,
there's no shortcut.
I'm not looking. No, I'm not looking for shortcut. But what I mean that maybe I am not in the right path, or what I am doing, maybe that's not meant to be for me. What I have done, that maybe it's not my calling. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Just I don't understand, to be honest.
Well, you probably
Really.
need to have. Where are you from originally? Where are you?
I'm from Turkey, originally from Turkey.
Okay, you probably need a proper live reading, and you need to look at the phonetic Turkish. You have to have the written English that matches the Turkish, because there's two charts: how it's written and how it sounds. So you need to read both charts to find out what's going on. That'll get you right to it. Okay, you've probably done the as-spelt version, because we don't talk about phonetics in the book. It's too complex. But you need to have a live practitioner actually do that, and that will give you the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have to go in a few minutes. I've got another call. So Shannon, go for it.
Is learning the phonetic part, where does that come into being a practitioner? Like, how important is that, and how far down the line does that?
That is a separate specialist training, a 3-day training, which we run in July annually for those who have clients who have non-English names. But you have to master the level 1, which is on as-spelt names first. You have to be able to differentiate between the 22 numbers, because phonetics is the most advanced training we do. Okay, so this is if you have Hispanic clients, or we do about 20, 30 languages. Okay, but can't learn that straight away, because that requires a good understanding of the 22 numbers before you can actually do that. Okay.
If you do the first level, you can do readings for English pronounced
names as they are spelled. Yes.
Yeah. And then if you come up with a client who has a non-English,
well, then we just do the name as it's spelled. It still gives a more personality-based name. And then the phonetics is actually available as a video training, simply because we have so many non-English practitioners who want it now. They can't wait a year or 6 months. So they do the video, look at the video, they train from the video, then they come on the live training to get polish off the training. That's how we handle that. Okay, but you have to have a good grip on what the numbers mean first before you can do that.
I guess I'm just making sure that that's not an absolute requirement to be.
No, it's not a showstopper. It's fine. You can still do readings. Not everyone can get into that.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I want to say a few more things here before we go. Okay. Let me just finish this off. If there's any more time, we'll take more questions. We'll see. Okay, so just move this around a bit. Okay, so I'll just go through these briefly. I've said a lot of it already. So basically, it helps people have a profound understanding of their life and accurately guide you. mostly your facilitators, and you work through them. It builds deep trust, and you get faster results. That's what happens there. Okay. So in the training itself, you get to understand everyone around you, and you'll be able to, and yourself, and you'll be able to give reasonable readings from this, and you'll be able to really flow with your channel. Okay. It's experiential learning, bodily transmission, and we support you with a peer-to-peer community. We have Facebook community, and we have specialist optional support programs to get you up and running as a practitioner, if you want it. And people get a lot of peace and relief and can step out of being a victim if they're in that place. And they can actually move forward in life. You unstick people with this work. It makes a big difference. And once they see what their spiritual map is, and you help them align to that purpose, it really touches people, because a lot of people give up because they don't know, they're lost. So you're shining them a light so they can actually go very deep with you in your work. And it brings a lot of compassion for others, simply because the patterns people have are very serious. Okay, so the aim here is transmission, readings practice, and then you'll be able to give readings afterwards with a better practice. So you can use this thing pretty much straight out of the box. And if you're interested in coming, we have one on the 17th and 19th, the 25th and 26th of March on Zoom. It's at 12:30 to 8:30 UK time, PM, 7:30 AM start Eastern time, 4:30 AM Pacific time, because we go out to Poland and India. We go all over the place with this. So this is the way to cover most of the Western Hemisphere. You can find out more at soulcontractreading.com. It's filling up now. Deposit is £277 or about $322. Full exchange is £718 or about $835. If you live, are you in Australia at the moment, Rehan? Where are you now? You have to unmute.
I'm in Turkey.
Okay. So anyone who's in anywhere from India to New Zealand, we are running one, an Asia Pacific one, from 6th to 8th and 13th to the 14th of May over 2 weekends. Okay, which is a 6 AM start for me, which I don't mind. I get up early, but it means that in the Middle East, it's a 9 AM start. India, it's a 10:30 AM start. In Australia, it's 3 to 11 PM. So most of the people in Australia are on the East Coast. In New Zealand, it's 5 PM to 1 AM. So these guys don't have to stay up all night, which is what they normally do. So that's the Asia Pacific one, because enough people asked me to. When the third person asked me in Australia, said, can you make it a bit earlier? I said, yeah, we'll do that. So that's the other option. That's in May. Okay, so any other questions before we go about that? Why you got me here? Take a couple more short ones, either in the chat or in. It's better just ask me, because I've got another conference to get to.
I have a quick question about the software, Nicolas. Is the software available after we do the training for when we become practitioners?
You can use it. You can use it now. Soulcontract reader.com. You get 4 free charts, and you can use it as much as you like. Then you pay a little bit for each chart. It's not very expensive. We designed it for the practitioners, but then we made it available for all the book readers, because there's, I don't know, I've lost count, 25,000 book readers. So people tend to use it a lot to find out about everyone in their life.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for this information.
Okay.
Can't wait for the training.
Yeah. Look forward to working with you guys. Donna?
I have a question. You know, the full reading that we get in print, you know,
Yes.
when we apply for it, you know, you're not able to do it with the reader, are you?
What do you mean? Not able to do it with what?
Okay, so recently I received my full report. It was 90 pages long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Self-contract
If we
report,
go
yeah.
through level 1, you know, will that give us the opportunity to use that software to create these reports?
Yeah, this is the next version of the software. And what happens there is that we're still an initial beta testing. And so it will be made available to practitioners eventually, okay, to support you in growing your businesses. Initially, it'll be like, you'll be able to buy those charts wholesale. As a practitioner, then you can retail them to your clients, but we're still developing it. We just launched it. So what you see there is, we're just refining it. Okay, so you guys will get it first, then eventually the general public will get it. Okay, so the answer is basically yes, but it'll be later in the year. Okay.
Okay, so we will have access to it.
You will, yeah, definitely by the end of the year you'll have access, but it's a lot. It's taken us about 8 years to develop that because it's quite complex. So final question, Shannon. I got to go. You had your hand up, no? Okay.
I didn't mean to, sorry. I pushed a
All
button.
right.
Thank you so much.
I've got to go. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for total engagement. And we'll see, looks like most of you are going to turn up on the training. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.